Okay, all right, guys. We're live here. Thank you to everyone that is joining us today. Thank you to everyone that is going to be watching later. I really appreciate you guys joining us today. So, today we actually have a very important conversation to do, and this is something that I myself became aware of relatively recently. And as soon as I became aware of it, I really wanted to reach out to the person that was responsible for this and actually have a conversation with them so we can understand this issue better. I am, of course, talking about the issue of Pakistani Hindus and Sikhs and the issues that they face in Pakistan and the multitude of issues that they face once they are able to, the lucky ones that are actually able to escape persecution in Pakistan and settle in India, and the multitude of issues that they face over here. So, to discuss that with me, I have Omendra Ratnu Ji of Nimittekam. So, first and foremost, Omendra Ji, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Sambhav.
So,
I'm very grateful to you that you have picked up this issue, which has largely been neglected by the Hindu consciousness. It has escaped our attention for unknown reasons. But in this era of internet, in this era of communication, we will not let these forsaken Hindus be forsaken any longer. Thank you so much.
no, absolutely, absolutely, and I appreciate you coming on. And also, Omendra Ji, let's get started maybe with your background a little bit. So, if you want to just give us an idea about what your background is and how you actually got into contact with Pakistani Hindus and Sikhs and started to learn about these problems.
Yeah, see, I'm born Rajasthani. I live in Jaipur. That's the capital, and I'm a practicing surgeon. I have my own hospital. I'm an ENT surgeon, and I was in contact with a few Pakistani Hindu doctors who were working with me, and so we would have casual conversations, often now, and then I was a little oriented to what they were facing.
Right.
Uh, uh, but because there was nothing the government was planning to do, the Indian government, so I would help these people sometimes with money and my contacts and all that. But there was not major happening.
Right.
Are being eliminated, especially in the subcontinent. So in 2014, there was a radical change when Narendra Modi ji put this issue in the election manifesto of the BJP.
Right.
And that was a game changer every which way, because as a layman, as an ordinary citizen of Bharat, I would very uh, comfortably go around helping these Hindus, because a mainstream political party had picked it up in the election manifesto.
Right.
And the same happened in the state elections, when Vasundhara ji picked it up in the state. So that stimulated me to give rise to this organization called Nimittekam. And the whole idea behind Nimittekam was to facilitate the influx of Pakistani Hindus from across border. Being in Rajasthan, this is the first state where they land. So my whole effort was to act as an interface between the government and these persecuted Hindus, so we could facilitate their citizenship and all that. And from 2014 to 2019, it's been a huge story of success and a story of learning for me, where between 2000 and to just to give you an example to
Yeah.
orient you to this, between 2004 and 2014, not one Pakistani Hindu was granted citizenship.
Wow.
Not one. And
That's
between
incredible.
2014 and 2019, 9,000 Hindus, Pakistani Hindu refugees, have been granted citizenship by the Modi government.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you ask me, this is the single biggest success story of the Narendra Modi government. We dealt with all ministries in the past 5 years, and everybody would give us an appointment on our first call. They were extremely sympathetic to the plight of these forgotten Hindus. And the notifications which Shri Rajnath Singh Ji, who was then the Home Minister, uh, uh, he gave us, all the power to, empower these persecuted Hindus, about which we'll talk a little later.
Sure.
So, in brief, my thing was that I was empowered actually to work for these Hindus by what Narendra Modi ji and the state government did as a party, as a political party in their election manifesto. That
Right.
gave me a lot of courage and safety.
Right. Right. And you are right. When you say that statistic, it's so mind-boggling. But at the same time, about between 2000 and 2004 and 2013, that none of those Hindus got a citizenship. But when you really stop to think about it, it does make sense, because if you think about civil society and some of the issues that civil society tends to focus on, I can't think of the last time a major civil society organization brought up the issue of Pakistani Hindus or Pakistani Sikhs and some of the problems that they're facing. And we every now and then we hear about some of the issues that they're facing. Oh, another girl got kidnapped. This nameless line of girls that get kidnapped, and eventually the Hindus decide, okay, we can't live like this. We have to escape and come to India. And very few civil society organizations, if any, major ones at least, you hear about it, and I can imagine that was one of the biggest reasons why you decided to create an organization that is dedicated to handling this specific problems, because I'm sure there are some major problems that they face even after they come into India after escaping that persecution, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later. First, we should understand what they face in
Right.
Pakistan, because that's where the whole problem lies.
Yes.
And I have no, see, I'm not into this thing about criticizing a country or so. It's their problem, it's their citizens, how they deal with them. My issue is only and only about Hindus living on this globe, and why are they being subjected to such inhuman atrocities just for the sake of being Hindus. Which country is doing that? What partition? I am not bothered about the politics of this.
Right.
And my thing is, I am a mad Hindu and I just care about a fellow Hindu.
Right.
That's where it ends and that's where it begins for me. Now, to give you a perspective, Bharat was partitioned in 1947, and the number of Hindus that were living in the unpartitioned Bharat at that time was 15%.
Right.
If we include Bangladesh and Pakistan, so it was East Pakistan and West Pakistan. Now, we will restrict this talk to West Pakistan.
Sure.
East Pakistan is not, because it's not in my core competence.
Sure.
I have no idea about the caste configuration and the issues that Bangladeshi Hindus face. It's a separate topic.
Sure.
Pakistani Hindus depleted from 15% at the time of partition in 1947 to close to 1.5% as of today. So in 70 years, it's a random estimate that close to 1 crore Hindus have been either killed, converted, or driven out of their ancestral homes just for the fault that they were born into Hinduism. It's mind-boggling that no Hindu leader ever talked about this, that no social organization picked this up. The social organization, only Islamists, right? So let's not go there.
Yeah.
So they're all funded by their own things, and I have no. It's not my issue.
Sure.
If nobody picked up, so big deal. Nobody picked up. I pick it up. So
Right.
here's where I raise my flag. I raise my banner. I raise the Bhagwa. This is where my Hindu brothers will come. So, but yes, I have a grudge against the Hindu leadership. That I'm writing a book on this. Pakistani Hindus, a forgotten genocide. This has been erased from the memory of the consciousness of the entire mankind, especially Hindu consciousness. That 1 crore Hindus were killed and converted. It's such brave people, and they were just victims of a very dirty game that was played when Bharat was partitioned. Now, on the issue of partition, if I may say 3 or 4 lines,
Sure.
I think partition was the best thing that happened to Hindus. Now, this is my complete variance with the Hindu leadership thought, because you see, when you are dealing with faiths who convert,
Yeah.
whose sole purpose of their religion is to convert. And Hinduism doesn't even have the idea of conversion. Scores of people come to me who want to become Hindus, and I'm actually zapped as to what should I tell them. There's no mechanism. I mean, the whole idea is so repulsive to convert anybody to my faith. I say it's okay. You be whatever you want to be, and just start worshipping Shiva. It's okay. So
Yeah.
just say Om Namah Shivaya, and it's good. You're good, as good as a Hindu as anybody else. But when you have faiths who say that no, we are only interested in numbers, and then you see that's no longer a religion; it's a political
It's a
philosophy,
political ideology. That's what it is.
right?
Yeah.
So we cannot deal, as Hindus, we cannot deal with a very aggressive, predatory political ideology that believes in taking away your economic status, that taking away your daughters, taking away your numbers by any which means. Constantly, there is a machine which is thinking of depleting your numbers. So, partition was the best thing that happened to us. Of course, the great Gandhi and his son, they botched it up.
Yeah.
They botched up a partition, and that was the blunder of humongous scale, an incomplete partition. And the only leader who opposed this debauchery that was committed in the name of partition was Baba Sahib Ambedkar.
Right.
So Baba Sahib Bhimrao Ambedkar is my ideal. I place his picture beside Bhagwan Shri Krishna, because he said, and he's on record, that if you're partitioning the country on basis of religion, let there be a total exchange of population.
Right.
So these Hindus who were in Sindh, in Punjab, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in Balochistan, they were just sitting ducks for these jihadis.
Yeah.
And it's mind-boggling that how on earth have they remained Hindus for the last 7 decades?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
to
mean,
remain a Hindu
even from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and those areas, they've been essentially been wiped out. The most biggest concentration only exists in Sindh at this point of time.
there are about 1 million of them in Punjab as well, in southern Punjab, Rahim Yar Khan.
Acha.
And
Wow.
they are Meghwals. They're all scheduled castes,
Okay.
so-called scheduled castes, but they are the bravest Hindus I've come across.
I mean, you have to be, if you're existing in an environment like that, you have to be very brave.
Every story somehow it just melts my heart. It just melts my heart. Every single story, the means and the kind of things that they do to these Hindus, and how they escape with everything gone, their memories, their land, their riches, their houses, their relatives, just to remain Hindu.
Yeah.
These are my walking gods.
Because
These are my.
if you think about it, Omendra Ji, their culture is their history. You know, once your culture is gone, once you've been converted, your history is gone. I mean, if you pick up a Pakistani textbook, history starts after Muhammad bin Qasim came to Sindh. Your history
It's
gets
good for
wiped
them.
out.
It's good for them. I you see their problem.
No, I
If
know.
they want
I
to
know.
live in Stone Age.
Yeah.
Good luck. We are seeing the consequences of the stupidity that the state is. It's not my concern. I'm not here to save them.
Right.
You follow a particular philosophy, you reap the benefits or the consequences. My issue is, I will give every drop of my blood, to put it a little sensationally, to take out every Hindu from that land. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. I don't want any Hindu to be left behind in that land.
There is an interesting counterpoint that I've heard about this, which says that Pakistan, current day Pakistan, is also the ancient ancestral homeland of the Hindus. So for that purpose, don't you think it is important for some kind of a Hindu presence there, so that the land does not forget their ancient culture? Because if you remove Hindus from there, then it's, I don't know what you think of that argument. At
I
least,
think very,
sorry.
very negatively of that.
Okay.
And nothing personal. Okay, you
Sure.
have a view. Let me give you another perspective
Sure.
here. Three underage Hindu girls are picked every single day
Wow.
from their homes. They are raped by the entire villages. Then they are converted and married off to some retard or imbecile or whatever. Eventually landing up in Middle Eastern kingdoms to be exploited sexually and then to be fed to sharks.
Wow.
Three Hindu girls per day. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
So then, when some Hindu leader comes to me and says that we want Hindus to stay behind and have a Hindu presence, I said, please send your daughter
Yeah. That is a
and
very
then
good
give me
point.
this. Then give me this sermon.
Yeah.
You see, we have been wiped out of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Afghanistan was Buddhist and Hindu, but once a predatory faith
Yeah.
came there and they blew the Bamiyan Buddhas with
Yeah.
dynamite. Yeah, I mean, whom are you kidding
Which,
here?
if you imagine, like the level of indoctrination is to a level where you could have easily made millions of dollars every year from tourism money by people visiting the Bamiyan Buddha, but you are willing to forego that amount of money just for some ideological conviction that so and so is
Sir,
wrong.
that's the problem kafirs make. That's the mistake we make when
Thinking
we analyze
logically.
these. No, it's not logic. The entire moral compass
Yeah.
is skewed, and that is why I say partition was the best thing that happened to
Yeah.
us. We cannot coexist. These are two diabolical ideologies. We cannot. I mean, and I'm not saying we are good, we are great, they are bad. I'm not saying that. It's not my issue. You will face, at the end of the day, Hinduism is about karma, right? We will face the consequences of our karma. The karma theory is infallible. That's what Gita tells me,
Yeah.
right? So, good luck to them. Good luck to them with blowing up Buddhas. Good luck to them with genociding Hindus. My issue is I want to take out every Hindu who is lonely,
Yeah.
who is being persecuted by a whole cabal of jihadis just for being a Hindu. So if I have the means and the technology and the will and the funds
Yeah.
to take him out, I will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a very selfish argument, if I may use that word, to say that let's have a Hindu presence in Afghanistan.
Hmm.
Sorry, go and find out for yourself.
Yeah.
Face the music.
I think that's a very good point, because as much as we would like for those places to have a Hindu presence, it's just not feasible because of the danger that those people face on a daily basis. Like now, because of social media, like thank goodness for social media that now we are still able to regularly hear when something happens to a Pakistani girl gets kidnapped or something like that. At least we hear about it. Imagine in the
Three
1980s and the 1990s when there was no internet, how many the women were still getting kidnapped. We just didn't know about it.
I you see that's why I say these are my walking talking gods. In the 21st century, with this quick era of communication, we are finding it. I mean, to save even one girl is
Yeah.
such a humongous task, and this they have been facing for 70 years, and yet they are Hindus.
Yeah.
It's so overwhelming for me somehow that
Yeah.
and people tell me, Omi, you're doing a great job. And I just look at them, me, I'm doing a great job. I'm having a party time here. I run a hospital, I make good money, I get invited to the best parties, I go to vacations,
Yeah.
and I live a life of complete freedom. So don't come to me that I'm doing something. It is these Hindus.
Yeah.
And I don't say it out of I'm trying to have a fake humility or something. It's my conviction.
Yeah.
I see it every day. How these people have survived and clung and still they cling to their dharma and remain
Yeah.
Hindus. utterly humbling.
What are the
Utterly humbling for me.
what are some how do many of these people get out from there and come to India?
Yeah, that's a very, very big ordeal, especially for people in Sindh, because you have to understand the geography of the nation. Imagine a Hindu laborer with 7, 8 children, who's working there, living there. That's the only language he knows. He doesn't know Hindi, he doesn't know English, he cannot write, he cannot read. But he makes up his mind that I'm going to go to Bharat. I'm going to go to my motherland because this is enough of it. So he musters up all the courage and gathers all his life savings. And from the interior Sindh, he goes to Karachi. Then he takes a train. He goes to Islamabad, goes to the Indian embassy, where there are all kind of touts sitting around. And he does this 6 or 7 times from the rural Sindh to Islamabad. The trips, you know how difficult it is for an ordinary man to get an Indian visa.
Yeah.
The Indian government gives 2,000 visas per month.
Okay.
And now this includes not only the persecuted Hindus, but Muslims who have relatives in Bharat. There are religious tourism जो तीर्थ यात्रा करने जो लोग आते हैं, you know, जो गंगा में उनके the relatives की अस्थियां बहाने आते हैं. So all these total 2,000 visas. So approximately 1,000 of the visas are for the persecuted Hindus who want to escape. So all his life saving are finished in this ordeal. And they land in Bharat mostly penniless, except if you can extend this whole logic to the number and the demographics of Hindus in Pakistan. Can I do that?
Yeah.
It's about, we don't exactly know how many Hindus live there, but anything between 5 million to 8 million Hindus are living there. Can you imagine after 70 years of persecution?
I didn't know that at all.
Yes, sir. So 5 to 8 million. Out of these, 80% Hindus are so-called our scheduled caste Dalit Sahodaras. I call them Sahodaras.
Yeah.
They are born of the same mother as mine, so they are my Sahodaras.
Yeah.
They are not Dalits. It was a very conniving scheme of somebody who coined the word Dalit. I believe strongly in the RSS idiom that na Hindu patito bhave. No Hindu is a Dalit. All of us are the same. 80% of them are Meghwals, Bhils, Kolis, Balais, and these communities. The 20% are rich Hindus. There are rich Hindus in Pakistan.
Right.
And they are Agarwals, Maheshwaris, Pushkarna Brahmins.
Okay.
So the caste configuration is still intact. And that is what is keeping them alive. So the rich Hindus, they just take a flight and they come.
Wow.
And it is the poor Hindus who face this ordeal.
Struggle.
Yeah. And that is why Nimittekam needs all those funds, because we need approximately 30,000 rupees per Hindu if we have to extricate him out of that place.
Yeah. Once they've come here, once they've gone through that massive ordeal and they've come here, you feel like, most people feel like, okay, ordeal is finished. Now they're here. Now they're obviously going to be happy. People forget about it. But what a lot of people obviously don't realize, that once you come here, the battle is over. The life and death situation is maybe over. But there's still a massive battle still to go, because you've left your belongings, you've left your property, you've left your entire life and history behind, coming to a new place, and you have to start from scratch. You have to start from zero. So there's so many struggles when it comes to that as well. And in your experience working with Nimittekam, what are some of the common struggles that you feel like need to be addressed immediately when it comes to the Pakistani Hindus and Sikhs that escape and come here?
See, very fortunately, that's why I touched upon the caste configuration. Because the caste, again, the whole leftist cabal have convinced us that caste is a curse on Hindus, whereas I am of my conviction, and my scientific explanation is caste is the biggest strength of Hindus.
Achha.
Because it gives you the ecosystems. See, I'm dealing with this, right? Because when a Maheshwari comes from Pakistan, all that Nimittekam does is to connect him to the Maheshwaris in India.
Yeah.
And he gets some opening somewhere. When a Meghwal comes, we connect him to the Meghwals in Bharat. So on that front, we neither Nimittekam neither has the funds nor the wherewithal to give an economic future to these Hindus.
Right.
That is not our job. That is the job of the Indian government or the state government, which we are having a consultation right now with the central government, and something very positive is going to come very soon.
Oh, we're happy to hear
But
that.
even in that absence of that, about 1,000 Hindus who are coming to Bharat every month and Sardars, they get absorbed in their caste ecosystems. So caste calculus of this country has to be preserved at any cost.
I mean,
If
there's a
we
question there of I think you're making a case for the jatis, because the way that emerged,
yes,
the
yes,
caste
yes,
is
yes,
caste was a way, the way that the Varna system emerged was it was a way to get disparate jatis and all the incredible amount of diversity, cultural diversity, that jati diversity that existed in India, to bring it into at least a cultural umbrella of some kind. And even in Bihar, I can give an example of my state, which I know. In Bihar, you can find lots and lots of beggars in the cities. You will never find a beggar in the villages, ever. Even though Bihar is a
yeah.
poor state, you will never find a beggar in the village, because
That's a
the
valid
jati takes
observation.
care of
Yeah.
them. Because
Yes,
if
yes,
there is
it does.
somebody struggling, they will say, अच्छा बेटा इधर आओ, आज का खाना यहाँ खा लो, अच्छा बेटा इधर जाओ, आज का यहाँ खा लो, ये कपड़ा ले लो, कपड़ा पहन लो. You know, the community will take care of him or her, whoever it is.
Absolutely,
In the
absolutely,
cities, they
absolutely,
don't. But in the gaon,
absolutely,
and a lot of people who have been to villages in India know this. It is very hard for you to find beggars in villages, because the
absolutely.
community
That's a
takes
very
care, the
valid
jati takes
observation.
care.
Yes, yeah, yes,
So
yes,
I think
yes.
that's the point that you're making, right? That the
Exactly,
jati
because
looks out.
that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Because honestly, we have not faced too much trouble about rehabilitating these Hindus, because we have the ecosystems already in place. All we do is to see the biggest problem that we face with these Hindus, which we used to face, was the Babudam. And thanks to Modi ji and Rajnath Singh ji, Sushma Swaraj ji, and Hansraj Ahir ji, they have done exemplary work. And right now, to cut the long story short, we are getting driving licenses, bank accounts, job permits, even Aadhaar cards for Pakistani Hindu refugees on the basis of their Pakistani passport.
Oh, okay.
And not even a single Pakistani Hindu is an illegal refugee in Bharat.
Wow, that's great.
They are all documented with the government of India.
That's great.
And that's something that Nimittekam is proud of, because what we have done over the past 5 years is to act as this interface between the government and these refugees. We do not entertain anybody who wants to live illegally in this country, because that's not how Hindus are supposed to behave or conduct themselves.
Right.
So, very occasionally, maybe a couple of times in the past 5 years, some Hindus were deported back to Pakistan, and right wingers made a lot of hullabaloo about it. And I kept defending Modi government that if somebody breaks the law of the land, just because he's a Pakistani Hindu doesn't give him the entitlement to break the law of Indian state. So they were deported because they broke the Indian law. So as far as going back to the story of rehabilitation is concerned, we are in consultation with the state and the central government. Something really good and really positive is going to come up soon.
That's really good. You mentioned the fact about the Hindus that entered the country legally getting deported. Now, knowing that you were saying earlier, and we were talking about earlier, about the dangers that they face on an everyday basis living in Pakistan, do you not think that maybe in those cases they're escaping a very dangerous situation? So, okay, maybe they broke the law to enter India, that the state should make an exception in that case because of the danger they face?
Yeah. Okay, let me clarify this.
Sure.
If any Pakistani Hindu comes illegally to Bharat and he surrenders his passport to the FRRO office and the local police, he is immediately granted refugee status. He is never deported.
Okay.
I'm talking about Pakistani Hindus who are living here for, say, a couple of years. So, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
A Pakistani Hindu refugee cannot go to the border districts. That's the law.
Okay.
They cannot go to Jaisalmer, Bikaner, Badmer, Ganganagar, the border district. And if a guy is constantly, repeatedly breaking this particular law, then what is the Indian state supposed to do?
Yeah.
And I got this call from a senior official that this is what a family is doing. I said, we have nothing to do with such a family. If they are breaking the law of the land, you take your judgment and take a call. That family was deported.
Okay.
And unfortunately, that family went back to Pakistan and got converted. They read the
Wow.
kalma.
Wow.
See, but then no Hindu is going to stay here breaking the law of the land.
Right.
So on their entry might be illegal, but their stay cannot be illegal.
Right. Okay, that makes
That's
sense.
that's what I was trying to. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
do you before we move on, do you have any idea as to how many Hindus or Sikhs get deported after coming here? I wonder if you have any idea about that. Okay.
None.
Okay.
No, I mean, after 2014, I have not seen. This family of 8 people was deported, and there was some stupid officer who wanted to deport 300 Bhils from Jaisalmer. And then when I found out, we went to our team. There's this guy called Jay Huja, who's my kid brother, and he's 90% of Nimittekam. I'm just 10%.
Okay.
So I called him up and I said, Jay, this is happening. And he said, we'll go to the media and we'll try to create a ruckus about it. And very thankfully, Z News covered it regularly for a week. Every single day they would cover up this news item that 300 Bhils are being deported. And then the government of Rajasthan took notice and that order was cancelled. So just to give it a more sensationalist turn, I had called up one of the officials and I said that you will have to go over my dead body to deport these Hindus.
Right.
I mean, I will go and lie down in front of the vehicle that you plan to so you go over my dead body, and I meant it literally. But when that happened, because of the media pressure and because of the Hindu leadership, they took notice and they saved these Hindus.
Okay.
So no, not a single one was deported. No Sardar, no Hindu was ever deported, except that family.
Okay. And before I move on, I just need to acknowledge Poonam Ji, thank you very much for the super chat, and Mahesh Kale, thank you very much for the super chat. One of the questions that I get is Dipankar Pathak is asking, are there any criteria to determine who is a genuine refugee? Like, is there some sort of prolonged communication, or how those criteria work? Because they're wondering that if could it be that maybe some of these people could enter posing as spies or something like that?
Yes, that is already taken care of at the level of Pakistani Indian embassy in Pakistan.
Okay.
The intelligence bureau guys and the raw guys sit there. They vet every application, and that is in fact the bottleneck. We are talking with the government of India that we should increase the number of visas.
Right.
But the security establishment of the country, and rightly so, they say, Omiji, it's difficult for us to vet more than 2,000 Hindus per month. And I completely agree with them. So we need to either increase the staffing or something, so that we want the visas to increase to 10,000 per month.
Okay.
But that amount of vetting requires that amount of staffing and that amount of expertise. So not a single Hindu is entered into Bharat without checking his bona fides with the people staying back in Pakistan. They have all the connections. The intelligence bureau takes care of that. Okay. That's not our problem. The visa is granted only after the due diligence has been done.
Okay. And so once they're here, what are some immediate problems that you are noticing that they are facing, that you feel that Nimittekam and like people in general who are interested in helping Pakistani Hindus and Sikhs here, what are some of the immediate problems that they're facing that we can help with?
Largely, those who want to help can help us on 2 fronts.
Okay.
Number 1, every Hindu on this globe should watch a 1-hour video I've made on this issue. I'll share it with you.
Okay.
to understand the demographics, the dynamics, and the horrors of this situation. Now, if in this era of communication and 21st century we cannot save these 8 million Hindus, then we will not be saved in Bharat also.
Yeah.
So start talking about it. If 100 crore Hindus globally start talking about Pakistani Hindu genocide, then we will take this up at the United Nations. We can take this up with Department of State in the United States. We can take it up with Canadian officials. We can take it up with European Union. And we can extricate some of these Hindus into these lands. We can take these Hindus into Bharat. We can also take these Hindus to other Hindu nations like Mauritius, Suriname, and other places where they can have those ecosystems where they can survive as Hindus. So, firstly, that every Hindu needs to do is to go on the Twitter, start following Nimittekam, start talking about this to family, colleagues, and neighbors, raise awareness. The level of ignorance of Hindus on Pakistani Hindus is abysmal, is horrifying. So educate yourself that what they are doing to the, as I said, 3 Hindu girls per day.
Yeah.
Now, European Union Parliament takes notice of this, and issues of whole day session was conducted. Day before yesterday, 10 US senators have written to President Trump about the genocide of Hindus. And what are we Hindus doing? Watching Bollywood and cricket?
Yeah.
And theme parties when our brothers are being killed like that? That's a question which should shake our consciousness. Number one. Number two, it all boils down to funds. Now, they have their zakat, every day. If you can look at the way Rohingyas have been rehabilitated in this country, at one level, it happened because of the government ignorance or culpability and complicity. But at the other level, everything moves with money. So they have huge amount of funds at their disposal.
Yeah.
So I have come up with a term for Hindu zakat. I call it dharmansh. So every Hindu on this globe starts giving 100 rupees per month to Hindu organizations like RSS or Nimittekam for that matter. Imagine what we can do with that amount of money.
Yeah.
We can get editorials printed. We can get United Nations lobbies to hire for lobbying about this horrible genocide happening right under our noses with impunity, with amazing impunity. How can you kill and rape fellow human beings like this?
Yeah.
So the two things that an ordinary Hindu can do is to raise awareness and to give funds.
Yeah.
Give dharmansh. Dharmansh will be critical to Hindu survival, not only in Pakistan and Bangladesh, but globally, more so in Bharat itself.
It's so true. I mean, if you look, Omendra Ji, there are organizations, there are lobbying organizations and there are civil society organizations that are almost exclusively funded by other Christian evangelical groups, or that are almost exclusively funded by Islamic groups. Like you have I don't know if you know about this, but there's a very large lobbying group in America called CARE. It's called Center for American Islamic Relations. Exclusively funded by Islamic and Islamist groups, but they are so influential because you cannot make a decision without going through CARE first. So this is the kind of power that evangelical organizations like Family Research Council or Islamic organizations like CARE exert in the American landscape. Even in India, they have all these organizations that are funded by different groups that exert a lot of lobbying influence. But Hindus do not have that kind of those kind of organizations, despite having numbers, despite being a well-to-do community. Hindus are not a poor community, especially overseas. Especially outside of India, Hindus are a very rich community. But despite that, you will see people give money to... I saw an incredible example the other day where I think it was the person that's the leader of Infosys. The guy who's the leader of Infosys created some kind of Bharat library where he's translating ancient Indian manuscripts. And the guy that was made in charge of translating those manuscripts is a guy called Sheldon Pollock, which is one of the biggest anti-Hindu researchers out there. So, I mean, Hindus have this tendency to shoot themselves in the foot. Even if they spend their money, they spend their money on the wrong things. So I think you make a very good case about, I think Hindus are now slowly starting to realize that platitudes will not save people anymore. The money will save people, effort will save people. Platitudes ka time ab is gone. So I
We
think you
are
make a very good case there.
we are in a civilizational conflict, and the war is at our doors. Those who have eyes to see and brains to interpret can see it, and they are already working on survival. But the collective consciousness of Hindus has been blinded by the chakachond of Bollywood, the normalcy bias that it creates, and shows Hindu Babas and Hindu Sadhus and Hindu leaders in a bad light. So it alienates your young people away from you, and the whole stupidity around cricket. Billions of rupees we're spending on satta. Nobody realizes that cricket is less of cricket and more of satta,
Yeah.
and the money is going to underworld. So Hindus are merrily funding their own slaughter.
Yeah.
So the only now we have begun the pushback, and Dharmansh will be critical to that.
Yeah.
Those who want to connect with me personally can do so on Twitter, on my Facebook, or Nimittekam website is there. And we are in a civilizational war. And that's why we raised the banner of Nimittekam to save these Hindus in Pakistan. If we are able to create a mechanism and an ecosystem where Pakistani Hindus can be saved, 8 million of them
Right.
over the next decade or so, with such a favorable leadership in Delhi, then we will be safe globally.
Right.
If we are unable to erect a mechanism whereby we lose these Hindus gradually to conversions or killing or rapes, then the future is bleak.
Yeah.
But I'm very optimistic. Hindus will survive. I'm just trying to cut the costs.
Right. Right. No, you're absolutely right. And again, just really quickly, I want to acknowledge Anand. Thank you very much for the super chat. Sai Karthik, thank you. And Vasudevan, thank you very much as well. It's a quick question, Omendra Ji. There was a
Call me
recently
Omiji.
huge. Okay, Omiji. Recently, there was a huge debate about citizenship amendment bill. They said,
Yeah.
citizenship amendment bill, what's the need? Why are we providing this kind of preferential treatment to these refugees and so on and so forth? There was a lot of debate recently. I mean, Quint, Wire, all these NDTV organizations made a lot of noise. This is just a communal bill. This is a communal bill. In the light of everything that you've said right now about the issues that the Hindu community is facing in Pakistan, the issues they're facing in Bangladesh also. On top of that, the issues that they face when they come here. All of these issues that they're facing, all of these obstacles that they're having to surmount every single day. In light of that, I don't know if you have an opinion on the bill or people that are opposing the bill so strongly.
I have a very strong opinion on this bill.
Now let's hear it.
It should be passed as it is and without delay. Because this is what this bill says. This bill says that any Hindu or Sikh or Jain or Parsi is persecuted anywhere globally, then Bharat is the natural home for him, and we will take care of him.
Right.
Now, I think Amit Shah ji has probably responded to this query about a couple of days ago that there is only one nation for Hindus where we can rehabilitate them. And I don't mean exclusively for Hindus.
Sure.
I mean, other communities are most welcome to live here. We should all live in a global community. But there are 58 Islamic countries.
Yeah.
And there are Christian republics. So the Citizenship Amendment Bill is the act that we require to save Hindus, and all those who are opposing it either are doing out of personal motives or out of ignorance, that they do not understand. I would have a very small and a limited suggestion to such people, that they come to Jaipur and Jodhpur and visit these colonies where these refugees are living and listen to their stories. I mean, they are Hindus, but they are human beings, right? They qualify as human beings, unless you have completely shifted your consciousness to the Abrahamics. So just listen them out. They are also made of meat and bones, and they also have the same chitta. They also feel, think. They have the senses. Listen to their horrible stories. Now just imagine, Sambhav. There is this guy, Gordon. I should not name him, so it's a generic name. This guy, his daughter was picked up in Balochistan. He knew where his daughter was.
Okay.
He went to pick up the child, and he took a lot of money with him. That he take this money and liberate my child. About 20 odd jihadis were sitting outside the complex where the daughter was kept, and he heard the shrieks of this child, who said that go away, Dad. They're not going to set me free. Imagine the pain of a father who has to live with this, that his daughter is right now breeding jihadis. I can't shift my consciousness to that level, and I can't even start feeling the pain of such a father.
Yeah.
Against her will, this child is right now in Balochistan, and he escaped with the rest of his children to Delhi. So these Citizenship Amendment Act opposition walas should listen to the other side of the story as well. That it's the Hindus who are getting a raw deal in this subcontinent. And I cannot conjure up, or I cannot imagine statistics and data, right? These are all raw statistics and data. So I would be very happy if somebody can counter me on the facts. I mean, if I'm being the sensationalist here and I'm trying to, hyper sentimental here about issues, then please correct me. I also have things to do. I can do a lot of, I can run another hospital and make a lot of money. So, but if the facts are on our side, then these people are either liars or fools of first degree. So I have zero sympathy with both.
Right. No, it's such a silly argument. Where else are they going to go? What are we going to do with them? Like, they're saying, then why don't we allow Muslims as well? I said, but 90% plus Muslims voted in 1945 that we don't want to stay with these people anymore, and we want our own country. So you got your own country. Now you want to have your cake and eat it also. So we want our own country, but we also want to come back and live in India. Ho gaya? How much do you want? Let the people that you're oppressing come and live here peacefully.
I have a simple solution for this. If any Muslim wants to come to Bharat, then he should do Ghar Wapsi and come back. As simple as that. I mean, you can't bring that ideology with you and then start the thing whole here. And you're like, I mean, that would be a little rich, that you want to create a land for yourself, then you want to come back to Bharat. It's a split consciousness thing. Make up your mind. You want to live with Hindus as Hindus, or you want to live as Arabs. So good luck to you. I have nothing against that. You go and fight out your own and figure it out with your own world. But if you come to my world, in my home, then you live on my terms.
Yeah. I mean,
which are like all.
It's such a crazy situation, at least in Pakistan. In my view, it's an unfortunate situation, because they live in two worlds, but they live in neither world at the same time, because they physically they are part of their ancient Hindu culture, and they're not Arabs, but they believe that they're Arabs. They believe that they're all descendants of Arabs, and they believe that bhai hum to yahan se aaye hain, hum to ashraf hain, and all of that stuff. they're stuck in two worlds, but they're not in both the worlds either. So they're stuck in this weird cultural limbo, the Pakistani people. And in that weird cultural limbo, they take out their frustrations on the Hindus that are there. Let the Hindus escape. Let the Hindus come to a country where they'll feel safe, and let them
Yeah.
live peacefully. I don't
Yes.
understand why there needs to be a discussion about this. Everybody knows what's happening to the Hindus there. Let them come here and let them stay in peace.
No, no, even Hindus don't know. That's the thing, Sambhav. That's what we are doing here. What you and I are attempting. We have to take this story, this sad saga of Hindu genocide to the world. Can you believe this? That a couple of years ago, I went to the Department of State in DC, and two very young ladies listened to my stories about Pakistani Hindus, and they were sad that this is happening to Hindus. And I cried and I laughed simultaneously. I laughed because I was thrilled that some people who are not even Hindus, who are not from my country, are so concerned about Hindu genocide. And I cried because I was the first Hindu telling them that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where was where is where is the rest of the Hindu leadership?
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on here? Why has this genocide escaped the Hindu consciousness? And then, when I sat down to figure this out, let me complete
Sure,
this. Is a
sure.
very important theory I'm sharing with you, and I want with through you, I want to share it with his fellow Hindus. That when me and my friends and my think tank, we sat to think that we sat down that why did it happen? You know, there has to be a rational answer to this. So pay attention here. There's this acronym we have come up with. This random, unceasing, low-level, scattered violence. RULLS, rules. When you perpetrate a violence like that, then it's not sensationalist.
Yeah.
Then it escapes the attention of fellow human beings.
Yeah.
If you pick a random Hindu from a random area and you finish his family, people don't cry foul.
Yeah.
If you kill 70 Hindu, you burn them alive in a train, of course the whole state will react. So the pattern got broken there, low level scattered violence. So we got to educate ourselves to random, unceasing, low level scattered violence. And because it happened in this particular style, it was low level. It never reached the consciousness of the global community. It never reached a proportion where it could shake our consciousness. That it has escaped detection. But no longer we need to tell the world that 15% Hindus are now reduced to 1.5%, and 3 Hindu girls are being kidnapped and converted every single day. So the more we talk about it and the more awareness we create about it, the more dharmansh we get, the more Hindus we will be able to save.
Yeah. Yeah, and I couldn't have said it any better as well. And you're doing some work for Pakistanis, Hindus and Sikhs. On top of that, Nimittekam also works with Dalits and
Sahodaras. Let's call them Sahodaras.
Yeah, let's call them Sahodaras. And so you I was just going to say that you call them Sahodaras, and you do your organization does a lot of work with them.
Yes.
And
yes.
what is your scope? What is the scope of the work that you do with the Sahodaras?
Oh, it's unlimited.
Okay.
These are very brave people. They are not the direct beneficiaries of Hindu dharma. In like the way I am a beneficiary of a Hindu dharma, the way, if I may say, the upper castes are, and no offense meant. This is just the way the things are. So the upper castes are the beneficiaries of Hindu dharma, and the Sahodaras have been left out from the economic story. So, and these are the wall that stands between us and total mayhem.
Yeah.
They are the first and the last line of defense we have.
That's so
So
true that you say that. It's so true that you say that because people don't realize that. People say whenever there is a Hindu Muslim violence, people say Hindu Muslim, Hindu Muslim. They don't realize the violence is usually SC, ST, OBC versus Muslim violence.
yep,
Usually. It's not the
yep.
upper caste that are having this violence. It's always usually that. People don't
Yeah, I
realize
am
that.
an see. I am an OBC, so
Hmm.
I'm in a unique position here. I am a beneficiary of Hindu Dharma,
Right.
and I have this half of my heart belongs to my Sahodaras.
Right.
So I reach out. I try to reach out to my Sahodaras economically,
Right.
like with my staff. I fund the education of my entire staff's children. That's a very small thing,
Right.
but largely the message that I give to my followers on Facebook and Twitter and people who meet me or anybody who talks to me is Sahodaras are such valorous and honorable people. They don't even need your money.
Yeah.
All they need is that you drink water at their home. Now, what kind of Hinduism are we protecting if we see them as low caste or whatever the terminology we use them? So the economic reach out is a second thing. The first thing is the reach out of the hearts. We have to open our hearts to them, and that is why I touched the whole caste calculus thing. That I read the Bhagavad Gita. I've read it many times, and that's my guiding book. I live my life by what Shri Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita. And throughout the Bhagavad Gita, I have nowhere seen that he castigated Sahodaras as lower caste and upper caste. He has never said it.
Yeah.
He has never talked about Brahmins or Banyas or Kshatriyas. He talks of a horizontal caste Varna system, which is not vertical. And I don't know when this crept into our consciousness that it became vertical, but so be it. Since over decades and over centuries, things decay. So this decay has to be countered by Hindus like me and you who are beneficiaries of Hinduism. I am a beneficiary of Hinduism. I must wholeheartedly share my fortune with my poor Hindu. That's the bottom line. And if I just reach out to him, that's the first step. Then, through Mudra Bank loans, Modi ji has done a phenomenal job of reaching out to our Sahodaras. So, there are a lot of things we can do. We can do so many classes with them. There is a lot of scope in piggeries. That's one business that our Dalit Sahodaras can pick up. Huge amount of benefits. There's no competition.
Really?
It is free from halal.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So piggeries is something which should pick up hugely in our Sahodara community. I'm working on that already,
Okay.
and these are very honorable people. And see, if I can extend the whole thing to this Pakistani Hindu thing and mixing with the Sahodaras, 80% of people coming out of Pakistan are Sahodaras, and it should be effectively used to what this debauchery of meme beam combination is being manufactured.
Yeah.
So if we had the mechanisms to talk about what happened to Jogindernath Mandal when he was the law minister of Pakistan, how inhumanly he was treated,
Yeah.
and this whole thing of meme beam bonhomie falls flat on its face and becomes very ugly because the severest and the most pathetic and the most horrible suffering of Sahodaras is at the hands of jihadis.
Yeah.
It's happening right now.
I mean, you
It's
see, there
these
was a.
Sahodaras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, Omiji, there was a report recently where there was a barber shop, there was a Muslim barber shop where they stopped Dalits from attending that barber shop because they said Dalits are not allowed, Dalits are too polluted for us to cut their hair. So there goes your Jai Bhim nonsense anyway.
Exactly. Well, it's on a minor scale, but if you do a documentary with Meghwals and Bhils who are living here and the kind of horrors they face and the hatred that the jihadis carry for our Sahodaras, because they are muscular people. They don't give their daughter kindly and easily and cheaply. They don't. In Umarkot in Sindh in Pakistan, they about a couple of years ago, I heard of a retaliation by Hindus against jihadis. It's unthinkable.
Really?
Hindus
In
don't
Pakistan?
even can you believe that?
Wow.
You see, that's the whole thing. When people tell us that Hindus are meek and Hindus are this and Hindus are powerless, I said, sir, you have not seen the Hindu beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Shri Krishna has given us the philosophical rationale, and you touch Yadavs, Kurmis, Jats, Rajputs, Bhils, Meghwals, and you'll find out.
Yeah.
Right now, you're having it easy because you're touching very soft targets.
Yeah.
You touch one of the martial communities of Hindus, and you'll find out.
Yeah. It's true.
So this whole thing, yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Omiji.
Yeah, this whole thing about meme, beam, this thing, and this is all humbug. I mean, 80 years of conflict should have taught us very effectively that the natural place and the most compassionate place for Hindus, the Sahodaras, is Hinduism itself.
Yeah.
But we cannot be, smug about it. We should admit our mistakes. The beneficiaries and the rich Hindus have not been kind to our Sahodaras. And that's where we must introspect and reach out wholeheartedly with an open heart that these are actually our brothers. And that's why I coined this word Sahodaras. I mean, I took this word from Sanskrit. That the same womb, he comes from the same womb as I come from. He comes from my mother. So then there's no question of any discrimination.
Right. And what are some of the more practical ways in which Nimittekam is maybe bridging this gap? This gap that exists between the rich Hindus that have reaped the benefits of Hinduism and the Sahodaras. How do you think Nimittekam can help bridge that gap?
Well, it boils down to funds. Dharmansh,
right.
We hire teachers. Right now we are running 5 separate classes in the nearest Valmiki colony, where we are teaching them Mehendi classes. We are doing beauty parlor courses. We are teaching them typing. We are teaching them computer courses, and purely for Valmiki colony. And we are coaching them on piggeries and fisheries, and to pick it up in a scientific way. Right now, can you believe India imports pork?
Wow.
Whereas we should be exporters of pork.
Right.
I mean, in a country where 80% Hindus live, what's the problem with pork? I mean, why should we let go of this huge opportunity? So right now we are in consultation with the ministers in the Modi government, and we will. They have already incentivized it in the budget, giving a lot of incentives for piggeries. So I'm very excited about the whole thing about piggeries, and it should come up hugely, and it purely focuses on our Sahodaras, the Valmikis, the Jatavs, the Khatiks, all the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribe communities, and they must all become rich, because out of richness and affluence, यार हमारा तो ईश्वर का नाम ऐश्वर्य से लिया था हमने.
Right.
हमारे तो कोई कमी थी ही नहीं. ऐश्वर्य, opulence, more than what is needed.
Right.
वो sunlight क्या वो राशन में आती है क्या? चंद्रमा क्या टुकड़ों में चमकता है? हवा क्या किश्तों में आती है? जब परमात्मा इतना देने वाला है, तो फिर क्यों कृपण की जिंदगी जीते हैं हम? तो हमारा ईश्वर तत्व जो है वो ऐश्वर्य से निकला था. तो कैसे हो सकता है कि हम अपनी 50% आबादी को गरीबी में और अपमान में जीने दें? वो तो फिर ये कौन सा हिंदुइज्म है? फिर ये हिंदुइज्म बचाने लायक भी नहीं है.
Yeah.
फिर तो इसे खत्म ही हो जाना चाहिए.
Right.
लेकिन यदि हम सोचते हैं कि नहीं, उपनिषदों का, वेदों की ऋचाएं, भगवान रमन महर्षि के वाक्य, भगवान महर्षि अरविंद की जो जबरदस्त बातें हैं वो बचाने योग्य हैं, तो उसका प्लेटफॉर्म वही होगा that we compassionately reach out to our left out Hindus and build a strong nation, a strong Hindu nation.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very good point. I think again that's something that we need to understand, that we will only move forward if everybody moves forward. If
Yep.
people get left behind, then what's the point of moving forward?
No point. I'm going to
Yeah.
stay with them.
Yeah.
People like me are going to stay behind.
Yeah.
And just because there's no fun. Bhai, at a particular level, riches have their own boredom, as Ran Paul Sartre, the great French thought thinker, said that the greatest metaphysical problem confronting mankind is not death, it is boredom.
Right.
So richness, I mean, what will you do with your riches except to give it to the lesser fortunate ones?
Yeah.
That's the biggest joy.
Yeah.
So rich Hindus have to open their purses.
Yeah.
Find out the right guy, find out the right institution, find out the right mechanism, and then help your poor Hindus.
Yeah.
They are your T cells and B cells. They are your defense line against infections.
Some
So-
people are asking Omiji in the chat that do you guys accept volunteer work as well? Because some people are offering to help out with volunteer work.
Yeah, I mean, for the Dalit Sahodaras, we might need that, not for Pakistani Hindus, because
Okay.
Pakistani Hindus is a very technical job. We have competent people who are sitting on their computers, filling up the applications, citizenships, and all that. Volunteer job is really not required there. But definitely, yes, for Sahodaras, anybody who's living in Jaipur or Jodhpur must contact me. And in fact, Pakistani Hindu refugees are in Indore. They are in Raipur, Chhattisgarh. They are in Lucknow. They are in Delhi. We have 3 large camps in Delhi.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to go and do volunteer work there, it's most welcome. They can contact me on my Facebook or my Twitter, or they can contact you, and then you can pass on the information
Sure.
to me. Yep.
Okay.
We
Okay,
must do that. We must do that.
Yeah. And again, guys, Omiji has said this numerous times that bhukhe bhajan na hoy gopala. The thing is, at the end of the day, as much as Hindus talk and as much as Hindus, sympathize and empathize, but at the end of the day, we need to put our money where our mouths are. And at the end of the day, you look at all the other lobbying organizations, you look at other NGOs, you look at other civil society organizations that are doing work. They are doing work and they are able to achieve as much as they are able to achieve, even if they are working directly against Hindu interests, like the evangelical organizations, like the Islamic organizations. They are working against Hindus. But at the same time, you have to at least recognize the amount of support that they have and what they're able to do with that kind of support. And so, at the very least, we have to ensure that Hindu organizations and Hindu civil society organizations are offered at least a similar amount of support so that they can at least begin to put up a fight. And
Yep.
so for that very purpose, please, I've left the link of Nimittekam in the description of this video. Please go check out Nimittekam. Please go support monetarily, because at the end of the day, these things need money. These things need money to survive. These people need money to be able to help. And of course, Omiji, go ahead.
Yeah, just one last point.
Sure.
Those who want to donate in US, we have our mother organization by the name of auroveda.org.
Okay.
AURO. If you can type that for me, Samba.
Yeah.
AURO.
AURO.org.
No. Auroveda.
Okay.
AURO.
Veda.org.
VEDA.org. This is a 501c cleared company, so all the donations will be tax free.
Okay.
So those living in US can start with $100 a month to this organization, and you can put in the remarks column as Nimittekam. So this money will eventually come to Nimittekam through the legal means only, because everything that we do is absolutely in open.
Okay.
We don't deal with black money. We don't deal with illegal citizens.
Okay.
We don't deal with people who break the law.
Right.
Everything has to be legal.
Okay.
But to counter the influence of a well-oiled, well-funded jihadi machinery, we need dharmansh on a massive scale. 100 rupees a month to Nimittekam, $100 a month to Auroveda. That will be the game changer. That, and you will hear the news of the Hindu victory sitting at your homes.
Yeah.
That much I can assure you.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, please make sure you again. It is time now. It is time now that we start putting our money, our money where our mouths are, and start genuinely affecting changes in people's lives, and start genuinely pushing back, and turning the tide of the civilizational war that Omi ji was talking about. Again, Adlibs and Sujit Kumar, thank you very much for the super chats. Divyanshu Gupta is saying, I'm from Jaipur and I want to help. Again, Divyanshu, support Nimittekam monetarily, or again, like he said, go and volunteer at Nimittekam for the Sahodaras and for the Pakistani Hindus as well. Do whatever you can, whatever we can do. I think it is very important at this juncture. So first and foremost, again, Omiji, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me today. It was very enlightening for me, and I think it was very enlightening for the people listening as well. So thank you very much for coming on today.
I'll end up with a reminder.
Of course.
But I'm very grateful to you for such a patient hearing. I know I am a boisterous person when it comes to these issues, but I don't apologize about it.
Of course, it
because
makes for a
there's so
better
much,
conversation too.
there's so much I have to share. There's so much I've learned from very, very learned friends of mine about the civilizational conflict. Remember rules. Okay, random, unceasing, low-level, scattered violence.
Right.
And remember dharmansh. That's all that I want to say. Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki jai, Sanatan Dharm ki jai.
All right, guys. Thank you again very much for everybody who's watching, who's watched today. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to go check out Nimittekam as well. I've left the link of the website. You can donate there as much as you'd like as well. So please make sure right after this, go check it out and please go donate. I will see you guys for the next chat again. And until then, stay happy, stay healthy. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.